Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have just had quite a lot of activity from the sun coming from all directions, including a blast that was directed towards Earth, meaning there is a coronal mass ejection inbound, and that is likely to hit us, though it's not expected to be a big impact around February 19th. And well, this matters because the sun overall being active means that there's just more energy right now rippling across our entire solar system, starting with the inner planets, then going outwards. And B, that coronal mass ejection impact comes during eclipse season, in between the annular solar eclipse, which is happening today as I record this on February 17th, and potentially before or during the great conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. We're seeing some interesting earthquake activity that is resonating with that planetary alignment, seemingly because we just had two magnitude 6 earthquakes pop off near Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia, and that is the site of the magnitude 8.8 megaquake back in late July 2025. And well, it was the middle of July last year that Saturn and Neptune almost went conjunct, being only 13 arc minutes apart. And now we're just 3 days away from that great conjunction, and we've had two magnitude 6 earthquakes pop off back to back. We also just had a G2 geomagnetic storm after we had 6 hours of G1 geomagnetic storming a little less than a day earlier, because we had a combination high-speed stream impact and coronal mass ejection come in, increasing geomagnetic volatility. So just in general, right now, what we're seeing is not necessarily extraordinary in terms of space weather, but it could be the straw that breaks the camel's back because of these planetary resonances are active eclipse season, the Saturn-Neptune great conjunction being very powerful energy moments in time, and we are having this extra loading come in from our sun and the space environment. So a lot to discuss in today's video. We also had an extremely high energy neutrino get picked up by IceCube. This does not happen that often. That came in today, the 17th, the same day as this annular solar eclipse. So with that, let's jump right into it. We're going to go back to that imagery that I just showed you of the sun, showing the recent explosions that have occurred over the past 36 hours. Let's see them with our coronagraph view propagating out into space. This first one there, right off from the eastern limb, a big coronal mass ejection from a 2.4 M-class flare, though that explosion was partly occluded by the sun itself because it occurred on the far side, just about to rotate into view, meaning it was a stronger solar flare than just a 2.4 M flare. And while we clearly see that with the coronal mass ejection, high velocity, high density shooting off there, meaning that region will be Earth facing in about 7 days. And it does seem that there is some activity with that region, though I think it's died down just a bit over the past 8 hours or so. We'll give that a look. You also notice after this coronal mass ejection, another one that launches off right there. It's not that obvious. That is from a filament eruption which occurred exactly Earth center and direct, and that is the solar storm that launched off that is expected to impact us around the 19th or the 20th of February. So let's go back here. We'll see this first one right there. That's that 2.4 M-class flare. If you look there, there is that plasma filament eruption. We see a very nice canyon of fire afterwards. You'll notice this spread of energy rippling out from that plasma filament eruption. So again, there's that one. And watch right here closely, you'll see it. There it is. That is Earth directed. And if we look at our solar wind model by NOAA, you'll see that they don't show this being a super significant eruption and coronal mass ejection launch, as you can see. But it does look like we have a flank impact coming in right there. So it does look like we have something coming in. The question will be, how direct of an impact is it? Not only is it going here off to the east solar coordinate system, they also show it going mostly to the north there. So just a slight increase in plasma density and velocity as a result of that. If we look at our Hux-T model, this tells a little bit of a different story in terms of just how active the sun has been over the past 36 hours, because you see that basically from all sides, we had significant coronal mass ejection. So this is the 2.4 M-class flare blasting off there, hitting Mercury with energy. We see this plasma filament blasting off there, hitting Earth, and then we also see some coronal mass ejection activity off there to the west solar coordinate system. So simultaneous on all sides, at least these three main directions. I look at that and put a lot of importance on that. It's not just about whether we have a coronal mass ejection hit Earth and then we have a geomagnetic storm, which we just got out of, by the way. We're still in that high-speed stream. It's also just about what is the energy of our sun doing? Like, is it, really active, and there's a ton of energetic flux across our solar system, starting with the inner planets and then going out, or is it effectively very calm and quiet? So when we have this sort of big burst of activity from multiple parts of the sun simultaneously, effectively in time, that tells you that there's quite a lot of energy radiating out across the solar system. That takes time, and all that energy is going to be moving across the solar system as we go through eclipse season and as we approach this Saturn-Neptune Great Conjunction. Now, I mentioned that we've been having some geomagnetic storming over the past 36 hours, and while that is the case, we see that with our HP60 index here going back 10 days. And so we see that we had a G1 storm right here. We've actually had three main pulses of magnetic flux here on our planet as a result of enhanced solar wind and a coronal mass ejection impact combined. Things started off with a G1 storm. It takes sometimes a little bit to get Earth's magnetic field really resonating and vibrating. That was the initial impact. Got us to G1 levels for about 6 hours. We did die off a little bit, dipping below that though. You can see that we're still elevating this 4 to 5 range here. 5 is a minor geomagnetic storm. If you were to go all the way to 9, for example, that would be an extreme storm. And while we did bump up a level, then when we had a preferential solar wind connection, all of a sudden the solar wind magnetic field flipped negative just for a little bit, but enough to all of a sudden trigger a G2 geomagnetic storm, that value right there being 6. So all of a sudden we went from minor to moderate. And it just really goes to show you how you can have this initial impact of solar wind only trigger G1 storming, and that's right here. But then once you're in that solar wind, even though things may not be as significant as later on, like initially, you can all of a sudden get G2 levels because we have high solar wind velocity right there, hovering around 650 kilometers per second or so. Right now it's 565. But this is what triggered that G2 storm. We had a slight configuration there, not for too long, that was preferential for connecting to Earth's magnetic field, and immediately afterwards, G2 conditions. Because the solar wind velocity is high, it was already crunching on Earth's magnetic field. This was the initial solar wind impact right there that did have that negative configuration for longer. It was also stronger, but we were building up from quiet conditions. So we had 6 hours of G1 storming. And I mention all this because the solar activity, the light radiation is coming off the sun, and the solar flares and coronal mass ejections, just even if they're not necessarily Earth directed, charge up the overall heliosphere of energy that we are contained within, the planets. The overall magnetic field of the sun strengthens. Also, the electric field of the sun strengthens. And then you get something like this where you have magnetic flux on the planet. People really connect to this more than they realize, more than we know based off of our scientific research. We're going to really find out over the next 50, 100, 200 years just how important this is and how much we're in resonance with this as it relates to our mood and emotions, as it relates to our cognition, consciousness, ability to focus, our intellectual capabilities, and really at a greater scale, our consciousness. So as many of you are well aware of, there are a lot of crazy things happening right now and a lot of new information being released to the public at large that, yes, some people knew about this beforehand, but in general, this is like a big wake-up moment for the public at large in terms of some of the crazy, like batshit crazy things that have been happening behind the scenes by certain individuals. We're not getting into that here, but what I'm saying is that as you have more energy come in from the sun and also this sort of geomagnetic flux, that really is almost like a full moon effect where it just like kind of builds that energy up within people individually and also collectively at like the community scale all the way up to like the global community scale, the collective scale. So we have clearly a lot of energy right now circling and vortexing around the public zeitgeist, you could say, and just all that. And now you have even just small things like this, because this isn't that big in the grand scheme. G2 storm is only a moderate geomagnetic storm. 6 hours of G1 minor storming, not a big deal. But it's just adding a little bit more in. This is not happening during solar minimum, and typically we see that spontaneous social processes, which you could also characterize as like social revolutions, things of that nature, they happen during solar maximum periods, which we are in right now. We're at the very end of solar maximum. We've had a ton of energy load into our planet. We see the Earth actually resonating with this energy as well. Here we have our latest earthquakes provided by the USGS, and this is for the past week. If I switch this here to highest magnitude, we see that since we've had this coronal hole be Earth center and direct, and also now in the geoeffective position, we've had more earthquakes, magnitude 6.4 there, Vanuatu, magnitude 6.2 there, Chile, magnitude 6.2 here in Fiji, and you'll notice here we see this magnitude 6 off the coast of Kamchatka, and also a magnitude 6 here off the coast of Kamchatka, both of those coming in over the past 36 hours. This first one here was on the 15th of February at 15:58 Universal Time, and then this one there was at 21:42 Universal Time on the 16th of February. So very interesting how Saturn and Neptune are going conjunct, and when they did that in July, just less than 2 weeks later, we had the magnitude 8.8 megaquake right there on the 29th of July, and we've been seeing magnitude 5 and 4 activity from this location afterwards. Immediately afterwards last year, we had a lot of high magnitude aftershocks going up to magnitude 7.5 plus, but we don't often see magnitude 6 earthquakes striking back to back like we are right now. As we get further away from that megaquake, you expect that to die down. Well, it's actually picking up, it seems. Not super tremendously. They're only magnitude 6, but it is happening. So maybe this specific location there is resonating with Saturn-Neptune conjunctions, or at least this one, and we could be looking at maybe a higher magnitude aftershock to occur in the near future, let's say magnitude 6.5 to 7.5. I think that's more likely. Just what the percentage chance of that is hard to say. I don't think it's the most likely outcome, but I do think that risk factor is elevated, though in general, this is a pretty low risk zone for the globe. And there is a very interesting history of Saturn-Neptune conjunctions resonating with Russia, and basically occurring, or rather important pivotal moments in Russian history occurred during Saturn-Neptune conjunctions with that synodic cycle. So that's very interesting. You have the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989, the death of Stalin in 1953, and then you have the revolution in 1917. All of those have Saturn-Neptune conjunctions. So that is the latest earthquake information for you right now. We could be seeing some big earthquakes this month. I think that's likely, but it's a little difficult to say exactly where that's going to occur. This area there is looking a little bit more primed than normal, but there's a lot of locations that are active. And just one final note is we see tons of activity here along the Western Pacific Ring of Fire. We do see quite a lot of activity here with the South American plate on all sides. We don't see that much activity with North America. So kind of still waiting to see what's going to happen there. It's not guaranteed that we have something big happen for North America, but it's so overdue, it's kind of wild. So hopefully everything stays calm, cool, and collected earthquake-wise, but as this energy is coming in from the sun, the Earth absorbs that and eventually releases that out in her own way, earthquakes, volcanic activity, and more. It's not only energy coming in from the sun, we also have energy coming in from our cosmic environment, and well, we have an ice cube observation of a high energy neutrino coming in today at 5:55 a.m. Universal Time, the same day as the annular solar eclipse, which is visible from Antarctica, where it's really not visible from much of the world right now. I mean, it's Antarctica, a little bit of South Africa, and effectively that's it. So high energy neutrino being picked up by IceCube. These alerts don't go out that often. The last one goes back to January. There was a few in January, and then I didn't scroll back like 6 months or anything, but it's not like they're coming in every single day. It's maybe a few a month, if that. And NASA publishes the information on these neutrino events to their website, and so we see that they say This was a moderate probability of being of astrophysical origin. You know, we really can't definitively say, though if it was, here are the coordinates for that. So we can type those coordinates into Stellarium. 14.63 for the declination, and let's open up Stellarium and see exactly where this came in. So we have 14.63 for the declination, 14.63, and we'll hit go, and we'll zoom right in on this and put a marker there so we don't lose our cursor position. And here is where they expect that high energy neutrino to have come from. There is some error to this, and again, we're not exactly sure if it is of astrophysical origin, though if it was, that is the best fit parameter for that. So interesting to see that it's in between the constellation of Gemini, constellation of Taurus, and then also the constellation of Orion, which are three of the really the most well-known constellations. I mean, there's a few others that are big, but these are very obvious for everyone in the Northern Hemisphere for quite a lot of the year. I mean, right now we have Jupiter there in the constellation of Gemini, and we'll have a whole bunch of planets move through Taurus, all the inner planets and the sun, quite soon, right? That's going to be in May and June. So get ready for that. But this is also occurring close to Betelgeuse, which is this red giant that could at any moment go supernova. We really don't know. It could be now in terms of us seeing it, like literally it could be in 10 seconds right now, or it could be 100,000 years from now. It's really hard to say. But there's a lot of very powerful astronomical energy signatures there. We have the Pleiades right here. So this is interesting that came in from that location. And it's also interesting it came from that location, not necessarily from the center of the galaxy, right? The galactic center, which is where you get a lot of these sort of observations. This came in from almost opposite that, because Gemini is opposite the galactic center. So that also came in, showing that there's high energy also coming in from our astrophysical environment, not just from our sun, and not here as it relates to Earth and us on Earth from our Earth environment. We have also energy coming in at the same time during this critical convergence from space. And the IceCube detector picking up high energy neutrinos, which are quite rare, right? They have a very low cross section of interaction. They have a little bit of mass, they're traveling very fast. We have beyond trillions of neutrinos passing through us and the Earth every single second. So it is notable when we pick one up, and that's where it came in from. So that is your update for today. Welcome to eclipse season. Remember that it's also a new moon as a result. And so we're starting now a new lunar cycle, culminating with a lunar eclipse in 2 weeks. That'll be early March, and that'll be viewable from a lot of the Pacific. It's really perfectly centered over the Pacific Ocean. Hawaii will be seeing that total lunar eclipse. Parts of the west coast of the United States will see that, also going over to the Western Pacific with Japan, China, those countries, Southeast Asia, they will see that total lunar eclipse as well, but it's really focused over the Pacific. I'm thinking about the Ring of Fire with that. In between this, these two eclipses, the solar and the lunar, we have this Saturn-Neptune Great Conjunction. The charge is certainly building in the collective, and so we don't need that much energy from the sun at this point in time, I feel, to really kind of tip the system over. And remember, we've been loaded up with energy now, not for months, but for years from the sun with the solar maximum. We're at the end of it. So it's just maybe that final little push. We do have some big active regions. This location there, as you can see, quite active until just it kind of rotates into view. Seems to have fizzled out just in the past 8 hours. It's not showing up as a sunspot yet. Maybe it will. I think it's in view now, and we don't really see a sunspot there, so that could be it. But we do have our old friend 4366 on the far side of the sun, looking still very, very strong with our helioseismic data. So there's a lot happening right now. So just make sure that you stay calm, cool, collected, and just, this is a moment in time where we're expanding our consciousness and we're expanding our understanding of all the factors and forces and energies currently at play here on our planet. And that's a really big thing right now. So Yeah, wanted to let you know that. Also, just an update, if you did not catch one of my other videos, I've only mentioned this once now. There is a sale happening right now on the website earthevolution.com/store. The code is BeTheLight, all one word capitalized, for 7% off. So if you like to pick up something from the store, this is available USA only. Our all organic herbal tea blends that we make and mix ourselves, some merchandise for the channel, then you can do that. Again, earthevolution.com/store. The code is BeTheLight for 7% off. And I hope that you at least give this a look. We put a lot of love and care and thought into our herbal products, and the merchandise has artwork by my father on the back and also some sacred geometry built into it. So all of this is to help you better understand your energy system, improve your health and wellness, and just overall optimize your energy field, your biofield. So it's really fantastic stuff. I hope you take up the opportunity with that code going all the way till the end of February. So thank you all so much, everyone, for watching. I've been your host, Stefan Burns. Smash that thumbs up button to help the channel grow. If you'd like to stay up to date with what is happening here on Earth energetically, then please subscribe. We stay up to date with what's happening here on Earth with earthquakes, volcanoes, severe weather, geomagnetic storming, also what's happening with the sun, of course, solar activity, space weather, planetary alignments, planetary resonances, comets, interstellar forces, cosmic forces, consciousness. We don't limit ourselves to just one thing. We examine everything from a holistic perspective. I release videos almost daily. So much love and support to everyone here who has subscribed to the channel or just in general is a viewer that's helped make this channel what it is now. My efforts are only half of it. The other half comes from all of you. So much thanks and gratitude to all of you. And that is the larger energy right now to connect to. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction is a hugely positive influence, especially as it relates to spiritual development. So yes, it's good to be mindful of some of the crazy things that are happening, but it's good to apply your energy towards your own creative passion projects and also to really focus your energy, because what you focus on is what will, really take off in your life and manifest. So it's good to be aware, but it's also good to, okay, say, I got it, let's actually focus on making the world a better place. So that's my take-home message for you. I will keep doing what I'm doing, keeping you up to date with the Earth, so you better know when to push or pull back your own personal energy, because that does make a difference. And right now with Saturn, Neptune, and this new moon, now is a good time to start new projects that are really of the benefit to everyone through your own individualistic expression. So thanks so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.